Chapter 15. When she reached the cargo bay of Deck D, and she successfully convinced the flustered scientist by the door that she had Daniel Grant's permission for access, a little determined pushing helped greatly. She found the cause of the alarm waiting for her, bathed in emergency light. Hovered over the dead infant alien, wearing their acid suits, were the science team. Daniel Grant paced beyond the reach of any acid, punching the air and cursing. God damn it! God damn it! What the hell went wrong? I'm looking at $1 million loss here. Minimum! He did not notice Kozlowski come up behind him until she put a calming, restraining hand on his arm. He jumped away from her, looking startled, then sighed and folded his arms. I don't understand. I just don't understand. Dr. Friel knelt the closest to the wreckage. Tears were streaming from his eyes. He looked as though he would have liked to have gathered the bits and pieces of the alien baby and cradled them in his arms. Acid-neutralizing liquid had automatically been splashed, but there were still pocks and holes in the floor. Dr. Begali stepped up beside Grant and Kozlowski. It looks like someone diddled with the equipment, took off the safeguards. The baby bug popped early. The good news is no alien running amok in the sewage pipes. Bad news, damage, no alien baby on hand to queenify. And a little heartbreak, it would seem. Christ, said Grant. His face was white. A saboteur. Who would do such a thing? Sobbed Dr. Friel. So young, so very young, and she didn't even get to see me. I trust you checked your doctor's psychological profiles, said Kozlowski. Friel looks a bit on edge here. He'll be fine. He'll be fine, muttered Grant, just a little too wrapped up in his work. No wife, no kids, said Begali. Looks like Friel wanted to be a daddy. Badly. The stricken scientist spun on the assemblage. He swung an arc with an accusing finger. Which one of you monsters was it? Tears runneled down his cheeks. Which one of you killed my baby? The finger stopped on Kozlowski. Was it you, Colonel? You despised it the moment you saw what was going on here. I could tell. No, it wasn't me, you fool, she spat back. Would someone get a shot of something for this hysteric? Something strong. And maybe a straitjacket. She motioned to the wreckage. And douse this stuff in some more acid neutralizer fast, in case the blood wants to eat through the deck any more. I trust you'll help me establish better security here for the return trip, said Grant. Of course, she said. She spun around and started away. Grant caught up with her. Colonel, Alex, could I ask for a moment of your time, alone? She was going to spit back a curt no, but his eyes implored her. They looked frightened and haunted. The part of Daniel Grant that she'd seen when he was drunk was there, and she was startled by its humanity. Meeting room, 5 minutes, I'll brew the tea, she said. Thank you, Colonel. The meeting room was secured, peripheral sound dampers down, communications off. The two sat across from one another, sipping a soothing herb tea, So, said Kozlowski, breaking the grim silence, who do you think it is? An emissary of the organised crime boys you owe money to? Or one of your drug company rivals, like MedTech? I don't get it, said Grant, shaking his head. I can't believe I overlooked this possibility. Everyone knows that if this mission fails, I'm history. If you ask me, it's better this way, said Kozlowski. Something tells me you would have gotten more than you bargained for with Dr. Friel in control of a queen alien. Grant sighed. You're probably right, but that isn't the point. This sabotage will continue, and a lot more money could be lost next time. Kozlowski shrugged. It's hard for me to be frightened of a corporate spy, or even the mob, when I've been fighting drooling monsters for years. Yes, but how often have you run into infiltration? Don't you see? You and your soldiers have always been united against an obvious threat. Take it from someone who knows. Nothing is deadlier than the enemy within. You have any suggestions? That's why I asked you here. Have you any clue as to who the saboteur could be? You didn't set up your systems to safeguard against one, or to detect the activity of one. I suggest you do that now. And I haven't the vaguest. I can only tell you, it isn't me. No. You think I'd be talking to you if I thought it was you? No, Colonel. We'll take precautions. But we'll have to take precautions and remain vigilant. If you note unusual activity in any of your people, please report it to me. I could say the same about your people. Oh, you can be sure I'm going to check them all out. He sipped his tea. Nonetheless, this is going to be one hell of a mission. It's already that, Grant. But then, I've been to hell before, so I'll put in a good word with Beelzebub. Thanks, Colonel. Strikes me that you're getting awfully involved here. We're all in this mission together, and we've committed to its success. Remember that, Grant. The mission comes first. Everything else later, including your narcissistic moans. That's all well and good, Colonel. Just pop a couple of pills and all your troubles go away. Bastard! She got up to go, then had a second thought. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a medicine bottle. Just a warning, Grant. She tossed it to him. That's my supply of the shit you make. I'm swearing off, so I'm going to be in a pretty bitchy mood. Grant looked down at the bottle. Okay, Colonel. He stuck it in his own pocket. Maybe I'll take it along myself. A dose of my own medicine might be in order. I wouldn't suggest it, she said, turning away so she wouldn't grab it back. She regretted the gesture already, but she'd see this bastard in true hell before she took his poison any more. She did, however, take the tea. The USS Razzia locked into orbit around the planet dubbed Hive World. Hive World, of course, was not its official name. That would be G435, for obscure classification purposes. It was the fourth of 10 planets orbiting Achilles II, a geostar. It was a Class M planet, with a great deal of seismic activity that rendered it generally flat and comparatively barren. Huge banks of clouds obscured the surface, but analysis sensors had already scouted out the geographic area that was known to be the location of the alien hive visited previously. 0 hour approached. The mothership, naturally, would not descend. A Class 9 lander would perform that duty, bearing with it the complement of Marines who embarked upon the mission. The Marines all knew their jobs, but there was a palpable pall of tension and dread in the lander's interior as the soldiers, already garbed in their special acid-neutralizing suits, began to file in and strap into their grav chairs. They all carried their carbines and the array of other special weapons in which they specialized. Private Jastrow carried something a little extra: his saxophone. "So what are you going to do, Jastrow?" said Mahone, attempting a smile. "Scare the crickets off with freeform? A little late Coltrane?" "Shut up, Mahone," said Jastrow. "You never know when I'm going to need to unwind." "Yow! Just having a little joke. Give me a break." "Cool it, Edie," said Ellis. "We're all a little on edge, huh? These suits don't douse acid words." Edie Mahone nodded. "Sorry, guys. I'll get off your case. How about some knock-knock jokes?" Ellis grinned. "As long as they're dirty." Nervous titters. Dr. Amos Begali walked in and slouched onto a chair, looking a little preoccupied. Ellis nudged his friend. "Hey, Jazz, I didn't know that old Big Nozzle was taking the plunge." Jastrow shrugged. "I don't know. Something big went on down in Mysteryville deck. Nobody got killed or hurt. I've been keeping track, and I've seen them all. But from what I saw on the down list, that Dr. Friel guy was supposed to take the plunge. Looked a bit forlorn yesterday. Freaked out, I guess. Couldn't deal with it." "Probably smart." "That's okay. That Begali seems to know his stuff." "Yeah, but I get the creeps from him." "You get the creeps when I play Sun Ra tunes." Jastrow lifted his horn up to blow a few notes, but Ellis stopped him. "Look, these guys are all hyped up to kill things, Jazz. Don't make them practice on you." Okay. So where's Grant and the Colonel?" He looked at his chronometer, featuring dials and sensors capable of all manner of odd things. "Humping, you think?" "Come on. I think dear Cos dug her gonads out of herself with a rusty spoon." "I don't know, man. I feel some heavy vibes between them." "Yeah, hostility. Just be glad she's directing it at someone else and not us." Jastrow shook his head. "You know, I've trained for this. I've killed bugs. I know everything by heart. They say I'm about as ready as a Marine can be, mentally and physically. Spiritually, though?" He shook his head. "I ain't ready." "Who is, buddy?" Ellis said. He shuddered. "Who is?" He looked around and saw his shudder echoed in the eyes of his fellow troops. Colonel Alex Kozlowski entered the ship. She'd already stowed her personal weapons and supplies in the appropriate cubicle earlier that day, just before she ran through the checklist of the Mark 9 planetary surface lander, dubbed USS Anteater by some wag. Now she carried a large steaming cup of coffee and a grim smile. "Ready to waste some bugs, folks?" A roar of approval greeted her words. "Good. But remember, that's incidental to our mission. Our priorities are inside that nest. Our appointment with the Queen Mother." She sipped at the strong black coffee. The caffeine helped her cope with the downer she was experiencing from withdrawal from fire. She'd put some regulation pills into her suit, things her system was used to. She didn't want to jeopardize the troops or the mission by lack of performance. She did not, however, want to fall back on fire. Although the decision put her on edge, the boost in spirit and self-determination more than made up for it. "Anybody see Daniel Grant around?" she asked. "Last I saw him, he was talking to Hastings about something," said Corporal Henriksen. "He'd better get his tail down here or it's going to get left on the razzia. And no big loss." She ambled over to Fitzwilliam and Tanares, the lieutenants who'd been pegged as pilots for this boat. They were huddled over their banks of controls, doing final diagnostics of their system arrays. "How's it going, guys?" Fitzwilliam grinned at her. "I'm telling you, Colonel, we've got one mean machine here. Backup systems galore. Lovely and elegant." "Yeah," said Tanares, not looking up from a screen he was reading. "War with the Xenos has given us a boost in technology. We've got some pretty stuff in here. Gives me a huge boost of confidence, I'll tell you that." "Too bad this thing can't just do the dirty work," said Fitzwilliam. "What? Robot controlled? And miss all the fun?" Laughter from the troops. A good sign. Ever since she'd shown them the acid-neutralizing suits, they'd seemed to perk up quite a bit. Without the big threat of the alien blood eating through you, this was a much less dangerous mission, and the troops seemed to realize that. As though he'd taken it as a cue, the last passenger hurried on, lugging a sack closed by a zipper. He quickly stowed it where the other stuff had been placed. "All right, people," Daniel Grant said. "You can close the access port." The door closed behind him after a touch of a pilot's finger. "Thank you. I just want to say, quickly, that this is the most exciting day of my life," he said in a voice that had been clearly exercised much at after-banquet speeches. "Down there," he said, pointing out a port towards the pearl and cerulean clouds swirling above a continental mass. "Down on this strange world are the secrets that will strengthen our country. Perhaps even point us all towards a better future. Down there are the brethren of the creatures that not only are a threat to humanity, but who devastated our beloved homeworld." He paused for dramatic impact. "It's in our hands now, in our power. Let's do our mission and do it well." A roar of approval arose from the ranks. Grant, smiling like a politician, took his grab chair and belted himself in. Kozlowski gave him the thumbs-up signal. "Well, Grant, you goat," she thought. "Get ready for the panty raid of your life."